I know I'm a little late to the party, but I finally got a chance to play around with the Goblyn VST. It is a free amp sim by Aurora DSP, the same people who did Nosferatu, which I think is pretty sick. Really just wanted to see if we could compile like basically just a breakdown with a bunch of free VSTs. Like we're using the Circvit bass on here, the Growler, that's all for bass. For drums, I'm using the Deviant drums. I've been using the shit out of these things lately. And then for guitar, obviously, we've been using Goblin and then an instance of the TSC. Basically, it's like a 808, like an overdrive pedal. So we'll just go ahead and play this real quick. So yeah, pretty short, pretty sweet. And I kind of just wanted to walk through everything I've done here. Everything that I'm using is completely free VSTs. And we'll just go ahead and just kind of break down everything that's going on here. So let's disable this. For guitar, oh yeah, and EQ, we'll take that off too, and I'll show you how I shaped it. So that's just this amp sim altogether. I've rolled back the mids, turned the lows up just a little bit. This, I believe, starts off here. I kind of just rolled it up halfway. Highs, I didn't really touch. What's cool is this is basically like an IR, and it's kind of like a mic placement. So I'll just go ahead and show you real quick on this section. I've been playing around with this a little bit, and for a lot of like the really death metal stuff, I love it right about here, covering the Y or in line with the Y roughly, or just roll it all the way back. And then if you push it all the way here, it reminds me more of like an angle amp. Just super mid focused, but I kind of like the best of both worlds. Just kind of gives it a nice, well-rounded tone. And then I have this overdrive. Drive is just a little bit up, tone about halfway, level halfway as well. Just introduces a little bit more high end in there just to kind of help it punch through. So next, I'll show you the bass, and we're using Circvit bass again. And I know a lot of people have been having trouble with it. I think they're still working on the update. I haven't heard anything new, but I'm, really hoping it is, because I know if you play around with the humanization knob, it kind of gets a little wonky. I also know that you cannot change the velocities if you are playing this part. Actually, let me show you this. And if you were to do this, there would be a difference, but there just isn't now. I think it's pretty much locked at 127. So I'm really hoping they update that. But either way, I mean, this thing still sounds pretty damn good. So that, oh, I missed out one thing just to explain. On guitar, all I've done is cut out 250, a big chunk there, and then high passed at 100 hertz just to help everything kind of sit better. And the 250 cut is helping basically all that muddiness. I can show that real quick here, hopefully. So this is without EQ. And then with EQ. We're making a lot of room for the bass and the kick drum here, and then we're also getting rid of a lot of that mud because it's just going to fight everything and sound a little bit not good. So yeah, back to bass, circuit bass. Uh, I'll leave recomp on because that's only doing a little sidechain thing. So yeah, with the bass, all we have is this. And then I'm using the Growler here, and I'm using the one without the sub. It's literally just the first one when you load it up. I turned growl off just because I feel like it kind of makes it way too muddy for what I'm trying to do. I leave the hot on. I messed around with this a little bit, and I can show you. So what we have it at now is here. With the treble up, I feel like it cuts through a little bit too clean. So I just leave it right here. Sometimes I'll mess around with it and kind of put it right around here. But I do like the top end to shine just a little bit. And output, it's way too hot with everything like this. So I've just rolled it back a bit. Mixes at 100%. And what I do sometimes is I'll use the no IR and it'll sound pretty distorted. And it kind of does have a cool tone, but I'll blend that in around like 25-ish%. And then EQ a lot of the high end out. And then for EQ, I think I just have a high pass at 60 hertz and then a low pass at 3500. Once again, this is to clear up a lot of the low end that the kick drum will be fighting. I could probably bump that up a little bit, but I kind of like it at 60. High end, yeah, so if we leave this and you hear this shine through, in this one, I wanted it to sound more of a bass and have less of that distortion cut through. So that's why I really did that. For drums, we are using Deviant drums, and I've got everything routed out. So I've just literally taken all of these channels, routed them out. So kicks on 1, snare 2, all the toms are going to be on 3. And then for cymbals, I've only got hi-hat split, ride split, and then all the crash China splash effect cymbals. They're all going to 6. And that's just to kind of keep them within the same realm from each other. Right in this mix, I think all I've done is EQ kick a little bit, cut it at 50 hertz, boosted it just slightly at 70 hertz, and then cut out, just used a nice round number at 1K and dipped it just to cut out a little bit of mid frequencies. For snare, I did 400 hertz, boosted it by 3 just because it gives it like a nice snap. So we'll disable this. You can definitely feel a lot more of that impact coming through with it. And then I think, cymbals. I just had an instance of OTT on this because they really needed to sound a little bit more bright. So if you listen to it without it, just breathe some life into them a little. And then I had to make my own room channel. Now, if you go in here, there are room settings and overhead settings and all that kind of stuff here. But me personally, I really like to route it out just to 1. So I pretty much have like full control if I want to do anything crazy with it. But to simulate a room mic, so I just have everything going to it, as you can see over here. However, to create more of like that room feel, I made some pretty harsh cuts. So everything below 400 hertz, gone, and everything above 4000 hertz, completely gone. I feel like it makes a nice little boxy enclosure for it. In my opinion, it sounds like something that would be like a room mic. And yeah, these two over here are just guitar sounds I was playing with that I didn't really like, but I figured I'd just mention that. So yeah, that's pretty much everything, man. I wanted to, like I said, create a, I don't want to say a track, but more or less just a breakdown of a bunch of free VSTs to show you that this, it can be done if you're just trying to throw something together or make a demo, or if you want to do anything crazy. And I also just wanted to shine some more light, obviously, on Deviant drums, because the more I play with these things, the crazier that I can get with it, and the more I really like them and realize even with this free version, you have a lot of control. And like I said, you have your room mics, overheads, close mics. You can tune these things. I mean, if you even wanted to do something like I've done in previous videos, you can just crank that snare. But yeah, that's really all that I have for this one. I just really wanted to showcase some free stuff and, kind of help some people who are looking to make some demos or get into mixing or something and just kind of want to deep dive into just practicing, or, even if you want to use some of this stuff just to keep it in your arsenal. Maybe you've never heard of this, or maybe you've never heard of the circuit bass, or maybe you've never heard of Deviant. So, yeah, if you haven't, let me know. If you have, I guess also let me know. That'd be cool too. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.